Welcome to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Listen to gather mystical insights for an extraordinary life. Hello, my beloved friend. Welcome once again to the Joshua Jordan Experience. So, I would like to share with you my thoughts on this habit many of us have. And it's a habit I have struggled with to break through the last probably 20 years. And that is making assumptions. We have a habit of making assumptions. And Don Miguel Ruiz wrote in his book, The Toltec Wisdom, is don't make assumptions. I prefer to state things in the positive manner, and yet saying don't make assumptions is very clear and succinct rather than saying something that would not include don't or whatever. So we have a habit of thinking because our brain is always putting things in context, right? It's so fast. Input stimulus goes into context. We make a decision about that context and we decide, oh, I know what's going on. And the reason our brain was wired to do that was for our survival. Once again, it comes down to the animal part of human nature. Our survival is priority one. We must survive. So, in order to survive, we need to know what's going on. We need to be totally aware of everything happening in our environment because something could threaten our survival. However, what happens though is this carries over into our interactions with other people. And we think we know what they're going to say, or we know what's going on with them, or, oh, I know where this is going. I've had this conversation with you before. So I start assuming that I know. And the truth is, unless I make an effort to ask questions and clarify, I really don't know what that other person is feeling, thinking, or saying because I am evaluating them through my contextual filter. So to get out of my contextual filter, I need to say, hey, I think I know what you mean by that, but let me ask, you know, are you saying XYZ? Is that what you mean? And then they have a chance to elaborate. And if you were wrong, if you got them totally wrong, they say, no, no, I didn't mean that at all. Here's what I really meant. You see, because sometimes the content of our words don't carry the intent of our being. Now, I want to repeat that because it's a little bit tricky, but it's really not when you think about. I communicate in words what I think expresses my intention. Yes? However, communication happens in the mind of the listener. So when someone is talking to me and telling me how they feel, communication happens in my head. Oh, I know what they mean, or I've heard that before. Oh, I know where this is going. That's all assumption. So if I listen to someone intently to get their intention, I need to ask clarifying questions. Just stop making assumptions and start asking more questions. You know, sometimes somebody will say something and their words don't really match their intent. And so we need to ask, tell me more about. Do you know the best communicators are the ones who invite people to talk more, tell me more, share more? And you know what? People love that because generally speaking, we love to talk about ourselves. I, on the other hand, have always been very uncomfortable and awkward about talking about myself too much. I'll reveal just so much and stop because I have a habit. I have developed a protective habit of keeping my private thoughts to myself as much as possible. But Joshua tells me, oh, there are no private thoughts. You don't have any private thoughts. You just believe you do. And we all like it that way. We all want to believe we have private thoughts because not all my thoughts are well uh, established in what I'm really feeling. Sometimes they're just, wing, zinging off the wall or something. Thoughts can come from out of the blue. So let's talk about that a little bit. Uh, since we are connected to the mass consciousness, sometimes a thought will come through your mind, a random thought that really didn't originate from you. And yet, there's only one being here. So it is your thought, but you didn't originate it. You didn't create it in the moment. So the best communicators ask a lot of questions about you, about the speaker. They want more information. Stephen Covey was a well-known business teacher, and while working in the corporate world, had the luxury of attending an all-day long Stephen Covey seminar where he was sharing these 7 habits of highly effective people. And one that caught my attention most intently is seek first to understand. You see, what happens in our psychology is when we're listening to people, we're often listening in order to respond. I'm hearing what you're saying, and that triggers this thought and that thought, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to respond or share with you after you finish speaking. However, seek first to understand. So when someone finishes speaking, rather than responding with, this is what I think about that, or these are my feelings, or these are my thoughts about that, ask questions. Ask, is there anything more you want to tell me about that? Is there anything else you'd like to say? Or ask a specific question about what they're talking about. If someone is talking about their feelings, make sure you paraphrase. Say something like, it sounds to me as if you're feeling XYZ. Is that right? And if you're wrong, they can correct you. That's the beauty of it. You see, communication is about connecting with another human being. And I want to connect with you. So for a moment, I will focus my attention on looking at the camera and telling you, I want to understand you. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think about, what you question, what you're curious about, what you like to talk about, what you love sharing with others. Any of that. I want to know you. I want to get to know you. We're a small group. I do not have 1,000 followers or anything of that nature at this time. We're a small group, and I am here for you. Jordan is here for you just as much as Joshua. And so I know that some of you do now call upon Joshua in your private moments, in your lives. You are finding time to say, "Hey, Joshua, XYZ, think about this. I want to talk about that," or tell me what's going on, or why do I feel this way? I love it that you are reaching out to Joshua. And I did a lot of that in my early communications with Joshua. I leaned upon him a lot and spent a great deal of time, though, just saying, what do you want to teach me about oneness? And this is where I learned about the fact that there's only one being here, taking on billions of forms, billions of shapes, billions of attitudes, thoughts, consciousness. So Learning about all of that was my interest. And yet, if it is not your interest, that is all right. Call upon Joshua and ask him, Joshua, what can you teach me about healing? Joshua, what do you want to teach me about being a better leader? Particularly those of you in leadership positions, but we are all change makers. We are leaders of change. So you are a leader. You are planting the seeds that are going to spring up as the new age. And I know it's really old fashioned now to talk about the new age. That was really popular in the 80s, started fading out in the 90s. It's like, yeah, new age. Yeah, yeah, it didn't happen. It is happening. Change is happening, and we are on the path to the golden age. I do want to talk a little bit about something. Maybe I'll let Joshua talk to you about it. He's coming very close to me now. So I will end my comments and I will bring Joshua through to speak to you about something he sees in our pathway. Hello, beloved one. It is my joy and my honor to be here speaking to you now. Jordan was on the brink of sharing with you something I have been talking to him about recently. We didn't talk about it much until now, but now is the time it is present. We are coming to a fork in the timeline. We are coming to a split in the way that there will be change on the earth plane. So, in this split, what's creating the split is the energies and the separation between positive and negative, we should call it, just for the lack of a better term, because you do understand duality and you do understand positive and negative in your world of duality. So saying it this way makes more sense to you. There will be a split in your timeline where one group of you will go off and enjoy the harvest of a new age. And another group is going off into destruction, wanting to see what it's like to destroy the world. You know, after destruction, though, always comes rebirth, renewal, refreshment. So, even those going off on the path of destruction who will see a great change on the world stage as nations will be battling things out with one another for who is in control and who has the power. And that is interpreted as negative energy. As long as people want to have power over, as long as nations want to have power over, this is a misuse of your power, and lessons will follow. And those lessons are destruction. And you will realize you did it yourselves and you must fix it. However, the rest of you, and I do see you, I see you in our collective. You are Joshua's spiritual family, and we are moving in the direction of the enlightened age, a time where humankind will behave kindly. Humans will be kind and loving and generous. In addition, they will be peaceful, and nations will become peaceful. The seeds you plant for this new age are love and peace. Plant these seeds and water them with your thoughts. Use your vision to see a world at peace. What is that like? It's never been done in your known history. Now, I emphasize your known history because there were civilizations upon the earth that disappeared from the history of this timeline that you are on. However, in other Earths. There are multiple Earths, and in other Earths, they remember the timeline of this great civilizations that were here before, who dwell in peace and cooperation. Now, that is what you're going to recreate for yourselves because in your known timeline of what you think of as history, there's not been a world at peace. Tribes have always been wary, I meant to say wary of one another, and they do get weary too, and yet their wariness can lead to hypervigilance, and then hypervigilance, there's threats and war. War. How do I personally contribute to the age of peace? I learned to be a peacemaker within here, right in here. Because there are conflicts that arise within you as you go about your activities. There are conflicts. You will feel perhaps sometimes you're being pulled in one direction, but you think that's the wrong way to go. And so you have these conflicts within yourself. So become a peacemaker. Learn how to resolve internal conflict in a way that is cooperative, collaborative, and works for the best good of all parts. Now, I know that sounds odd because I'm talking about your internal self, and yet in your internal self, there is a community. There is a community that forms a collaborative, a cooperative, I meant to say, a cooperative that influences you. And in this cooperative, you want to learn to make peace. Let all parts come to the table, share their needs, and negotiate how we move forward in a way that benefits us all. And the more you do that internally, you see it's radiating out from you. You are putting it out into the mass consciousness. So the more that people learn to be internal peacemakers, and perhaps even peacemakers in their home, or if you are chosen, you might be a peacemaker in your community or your region, you see. It depends upon your role in the society. However, just being an individual peacemaker inside and in my home is all you must do to water the seeds of the age of peace. So be at peace and feel the love that comes to you from the very source that created you. It is flowing to and through you at all times. Thank you so much for your attention. It is my joy to speak to you, and I do bid you a good day. Thank you for listening. We hope you heard something to ponder and gained inspiration for your journey. Please join us again next time. Joshua says, let the light grow, let love show, and let your life be fun.